Chapter 14, Part 1, Meeting Jasmine. I had flown to Vegas to see an old friend, desperately needing a human connection that was familiar and not developing anew. One night, I took an UberX ride and sat next to a half Filipino, half Italian woman who was decked out in Louis Vuitton from head to toe. Her Dolce & Gabbana hat was pulled down so low you could barely see her eyes. "Excuse me, driver," she said without even glancing in my direction. "Why is there another passenger in this ride?" Her tone carried that particular brand of entitlement that suggested my very existence was an inconvenience to her day. "This is a shared ride. He's the additional passenger," he told her. She'd never taken an Uber before, because why would someone with a personal driver need to? But when that driver called in sick that day, she booked what she assumed was the premium option on Uber. Apparently, she thought the X stood for exclusive. "Do I smell or something?" I asked, theatrically sniffing my armpits. "Oh," she said. "Don't worry, I don't bite. Unless I'm turned into a vampire, which hasn't happened yet today," I said. She laughed. "What's your name?" I asked. "Jasmine," she said, softer now. "Where are you coming from?" I asked. "A party with Hollywood directors," she said, like it was just another boring network event at the local Marriott. "Funny. I used to be in the entertainment industry." "In Hollywood?" she said. "Korean Hollywood. I was the white guy in all your favorite K-dramas you binge watch." "Interesting," she said, studying me like I was a puzzle she suddenly wanted to solve. We went on to chat more about her connections in Hollywood, her travels to exotic locations most people only see in magazines, and her frustrations with dating men who were intimidated by her success. By the time she was dropped off at the Turnberry Towers, the most luxurious condo high rise in Vegas, we exchanged numbers. Later that week, she invited me to dinner at her place, something she had never done before in her life, especially with a stranger. This was particularly remarkable considering she was notoriously selective, typically only dating millionaires, and currently had a billionaire actively pursuing her to no avail. At her condo, she shared a personal history so wild and unbelievable that I assumed she was testing my gullibility. This Ivy League educated heart and lung surgeon was the daughter of an Italian mob boss who was worth tens of millions. She casually mentioned that she owned 3 businesses on top of her demanding job as a critical care surgeon, carried 3 passports with different identities, and was marked for death in the Philippines over a real estate deal. Her connections ranged from the top surgeons in the nation to the Kardashians' manager. She hoarded over $300,000 worth of designer bags just sitting in storage. And when I opened her kitchen drawer to get a knife, I discovered uncashed paychecks from the hospital she worked at worth tens of thousands of dollars just sitting there like forgotten receipts. Never cashed. Money literally meant nothing to her. She had so much of it. She commanded rooms with a masculine authority, yet moved through the world with a femininity so profound it made flowers seem clumsy. Jasmine was so comically wealthy and accomplished that her casual week was more impressive and action-packed than most people's lifetime highlight reel. This woman was building an empire and a life worth writing a movie script about, and nothing could stop her. She'd never invited anyone to her apartment before, not even her last boyfriend the entire time they dated. Yet here I was, a missing front tooth and flannel clad, having the most honest conversation of my life in her living room for 6 straight hours. She later told me that while most men tried impressing her with Lamborghinis and mansions, things she'd always had and impressed her exactly zero, I was the first person who only shared what was broken about me. That raw honesty not only didn't deter her, but it was exactly what she'd been searching for. We were connecting on a deep, deep level, and before we knew it, it was 1 a.m. As the hours had melted away unnoticed, we'd somehow crossed from strangers into something indefinable and electric. Wanting to let her rest before her demanding job the next day, I prepared to leave, only to discover my Airbnb fob had mysteriously vanished into thin air. This was completely out of character for me. I'm the type who always knows where my keys are. We searched everywhere, but it was gone. The LCS, I believe, deleted the fob from existence, something it has been known to do when it knows you're exactly where you need to be, even if you don't know it yet. She agreed to let me stay the night again, something she had never done before with anyone, let alone a virtual stranger. And what began as an intimate pillow talk quickly turned into lovemaking with an intensity that surprised both of us. There was something magnetic about her contradiction of strength and vulnerability, the way she could command a surgical theater, yet melt completely in my arms. I wound up spending several days with her, and somewhere between morning coffee conversations and late night confessions, I decided Vegas was the place for me to move to. I needed companionship after months of loneliness, and I felt inexplicably drawn to this beautiful enigma who seemed to need someone as much as I did. So I flew back to get my car, packed up what little I owned, and made the drive to Vegas with nothing but blind faith and a memory of her laugh and gorgeous body echoing in my head.